Howdy, howdy, and meowdy! Happy Tuesday, Catfish. I hope you're all having a fantastic start to your Tuesday. Morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time zone it may be. I know this isn't my usual stream day. I had errand that I had to run yesterday, so we moved yesterday's stream to today. Same with how Saturday we'll be streaming instead of Sunday because we have errands on Sunday. There's nothing super busy, just things that needed to be done. And now we are here to stream, and it's gonna be a good one. As long as it doesn't get super hot out, and it's supposed to be fairly hot today. It's mid-70s right now. The high is gonna be 89. That's not gonna be fun. It's kind of suck. Welcome, Refreshing Coke and Raiders. Welcome. For those of you who do not know me, I am Penny. I am everyone's big sister. I love to live to love, and love you all. What were we up to on stream today? We had a fun stream. Oh, heck yeah. I love Uma Musume. I have been having so much fun with that. Like, I figured I would have had fun, but I'm having more fun than I was expecting. It's so good. Everybody loves Horse Girl game. Who are your favorite horse girls in the game? Oh yeah, Gold Ship is a good one. My two favorites are El Condor Pasa and Rice Shower. They're both so good. I am a huge fan of El Condor. I definitely need to stream that game at some point. I stream it next Monday as my variety game, because that'd be a ton of fun. I've been working through trying to do the career for Rice Shower, which is a challenge, but it's been fun. Working on leveling my horses so I can getting the support cards I need, but it's been fun. It's definitely a really good game. Anywho, on our schedule for today's stream, we are playing Katawa Shoujo again. I know the last time I played this was before I went in for surgery in April. It was literally the last thing I did. I streamed Hanako's good ending, and I was like, I want to say 16 hours of streaming over 2 days, I think. Something like that, but it was fun, it was good, it was emotional. And today we are playing a mod for the game specifically. So it's is and isn't. So there's a fan-made remaster of the game called Katawa Shoujo Re-Engineered, which basically just upscales everything to 1080p and everything, makes it look better. And it also has support for mods. Mods for it being just visual novel stuff that people have made to attach to it. And the mod we're doing is the Act 1 for the insanely big, super well-made fanfiction Sisterhood. And Sisterhood carries on from Hanako's Good Ending. It's such a good fanfiction, like holy crap, is it so well made. And it's so the mod for it has music, the person making it's doing art and everything. It's gonna be so good. It's so good. Like it had been a while since the last time I played it, but I figured, going into surgery back in April, I figured it'd be fun to have the last thing I stream before surgery being Katawa. Especially because my VTuber's design is inspired by... Oh, my face tracking is kind of... why is my face tracking going stupid? My VTuber's design is inspired by Hanako. So I figured it would be fun to have my last stream just be playing through her good ending. Okay, I don't know why my facial expressions are being kind of dumb. Let's turn off motion capture. That doesn't do anything. Back on. Close the media pipe trainer. In half. If I have to swap to a different model to get it to reset, I will. This is more than a little bit annoying. I don't know when or how my face got kind of wonked up. Media pipe tracker doesn't have anything going wrong, so let us just swap to our pajamas outfit and then swap back to the nurse outfit. This will take a little, but this should fix the face. Okay, yeah, face fixed. Let's go back to being... Let's go back to being nurse for this. Nurse was our new main outfit for a while. Don't know why the face got all scrunched up. Perfect, we are fixed. So, that, okay, let us dive right on into the Katawa goodness, because it's gonna be good. We need to pop. Pop. And then let me boot up Katawa Shoujo Re-Engineered. And a really neat thing about the mods for this is that the mods can be set to have a flag attached to them where if you haven't completed a certain ending or gotten to a certain point in the game, the flag won't be triggered and you can't play the mod. And for this, the flag behind it is Hanako's Good Ending, so I thoroughly enjoyed playing through all of that again to get to be able to do the mod. And I think I might make it a once yearly thing where I just play through the game once every year. Let's see, game capture. Top shoujo engineered. Perfect. As you can see, we have done one route. Just one. I'll probably down the line go for the other routes just because they're good. Options. Scooch that down to there. Oh yeah, right. This also has Discord activity, which is neat. I don't think the mod doesn't have any adult content in it. It's just the Act 1. And like, if you haven't read the Sisterhood fanfiction, it is insanely good. It's extremely long. It's literally just a continuation of Hanako's good ending, and it's amazing. I haven't read it in ages, but I still remember it being so good. Ba, 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 ba. It has been a little over a week since Akira and I arrived at our parents' home. Although the official reason for coming over was seeing our mother's ailing sister, our whole time here has felt more like a vacation. Thankfully, my aunt's situation stabilized shortly before our arrival, so I didn't feel too guilty about that thought. I spent most of our time here sitting in the backyard, reading the books I brought along, and occasionally chatting with Akira. After finishing the remainders of breakfast, I navigate my way to the yard, hoping for an opportunity to catch a few rays. As I step outside, I'm greeted by the familiar sound of a sharp snap, followed by the short hiss of a beer can being opened. I turn my head towards the source of the sound and do my best to appear as disapproving as I can. Akira, do you really think it's a wise idea to be drinking this early? How can you think of drinking alcohol before we've even had lunch? Hey, unlike you, I've been up and about for 4 hours already. Besides, I have a reason to celebrate. Check out what I got this morning. As I hold out my hand, my sister passes me a rectangular piece of paper that has a familiar size. I remember having held a similar piece not too long ago. A plane ticket. So you have finished making arrangements for a trip back to Japan? Not just that, I managed to convince the old man to let us fly business class. We'll be traveling back in style, baby! I winced a little at my sister's overly enthusiastic announcement, but managed to compose myself and smile. Fitting accommodations for your new position in the legal affairs department at the head office. Are they not? The playful retort I was expecting doesn't come. Uncomfortable silences aren't exactly common around Akira. Did I misjudge her yesterday evening? Why don't we have a little walk, sis? A little stroll by the bay shore will do you good. The area near the bay shore where we're taking a break is pleasant, to be sure, but the atmosphere remains somewhat heavy. As I am still determining the best way to bring up the obvious subject, my sister turns to me. Be honest, Lils. You think my decision was made a little too hastily, don't ya? It's written all over your face. I sigh. I didn't really think it was my place to tell Akira what to do with her life, especially not after she sacrificed the latter part of her youth to look after me. But when father told her that a position had opened up at the corporate headquarters here in Inverness, she accepted the job in seconds. Within a week, she'll be back in Japan, breaking up a relationship that she seemed happy with before. I don't think I can deny you've made your choice extremely quickly. For how long have you been dating? I've been making quick decisions since I started working, sis. I went with my gut instinct there, but I've been sleeping on it and I think I managed to work out why my gut told me to do what I did. I hear a whoosh from my sister's direction, followed by several short splashes in the distance. Is she skipping rocks? You know, there's a part of this whole deal that I don't like at all. But I made a clear choice on what to do with my life years ago, and this seems like the best road to take. I nod silently. She may not seem like it at first impression, but Akira's pretty ambitious, and there are still several rungs of the corporate ladder left that she wants to climb. This might seem a tad weird to you, but in a way I'm secure in my future stability. You can't get any higher than head office. So if I find someone else and settle down here, future promotions ain't gonna force me to move anymore. I can get where I want to go and secure my financial future right here. Heh. Better to get this step behind me before my good looks start fading. Not everybody makes a big deal out of looks. We both get a good look out of that. I suddenly feel how she takes my hand and pushes a small flat rock into it before turning me around. Here, give it a try. Sploosh. Anyway, if I ever have any kids of my own, this will at least mean I can work my way to the top without having to leave them behind in another country. And they definitely seem more open to part-time employment than the management in Japan. Must be a cultural thing. Akira suddenly sounds very bitter. I cringe a bit at her sudden change of tone. I never really felt comfortable when she vented about our parents, but I've never denied her a chance to do so, even though my own feelings are more nuanced. Of course, the old man didn't exactly hide the fact she pulled some strings to help me get this job, so I think we both know what'll be expected of me in return for taking it. What would that be? Sploosh, sploosh, sploosh. I'll be expected to stop giving him a hard time about leaving us to fend for ourselves. He'll have paid me back, so all's fine and dandy again. Like every person has his price. I once denied it, but I too have the impression mother and father are trying to make up for their sudden migration 6 years ago. A migration that Akira always interpreted as an escape. An escape from us. From me. Wouldn't it be good to have them try and make amends, even if it's a little late? We're still a family after all. It might have been good if I had been in a position to accept or decline. Aren't you? What do you think? Word of my recommendation already spread around. You really think my job won't hit a dead end if I decline? You think anyone at home would give a promotion opportunity to someone who declined a recommendation from head office? I was extremely lucky to get as far as I already got, but I only have to push things once and it'll be over. Me declining the offer I got would be just the excuse they'd need. Sploosh. That was probably more than just a pebble she threw. I could start at the bottom rung of the ladder at another company, but chances are pretty high I'd get stuck there permanently, assuming they'd want to hire me. All things considered, this new position is something I probably wouldn't have turned down anyway, but it would have been nice if the choice would have felt more like my own. Now it has a bitter aftertaste I'm still trying to get out of my mouth. I didn't see it like that before. I want to say it is just paranoia on her part, but I know I'm not going to win that discussion. Akira has been in the business long enough to get a feel for the unwritten rules of the place. I don't really have any reason to doubt her assessment of her own situation. This is why I dislike the notion of office politics. I cannot even begin to imagine how I would feel in that kind of situation. I stifle a cry as Akira gives me a cheerful slap on the back. Probably like a goldfish in a shark tank. Stick with your own dream, Lil, so you can thank yourself later. Splish, splish, splish. Is that what you'll be telling your boyfriend as well? Something like that. He knows I want to work my way up. If I give it all up for his sake, I'll probably end up resenting him over it, even if the decision was completely my own. No relationship can survive that kind of baggage. I think he'll understand. I hope he'll understand. Anyway, let's start walking back. Did you really consider all these things during the few seconds between when Father asked you and you accepted? Like I said, it was a gut feeling. It took me a whole night of mulling to figure out the specifics. I am impressed. Kira wasn't the only one who was asked to move from Japan to Scotland. I too have been asked to move back in with our parents, but where she accepted almost immediately, I have been trying to avoid even thinking about the choice that has been offered to me. Akira trusts her instincts blindly. I'm not quite as confident in my gut feelings and tend to mull over things longer than I should. You know, there's one thing that kind of bothers me about my decision, and that concerns you. Splish, splish, splish. You want to be an you want to be an English teacher, and I think you'd be a mighty good one. The nice thing about a teaching gig is that you don't have to worry about promotions as long as you can get the job to begin with. I am not certain what you're getting at. So I'm guessing the decision you're going to make is eventually going to come down to the people who will be affected by your choice. But since I made my own decision right in front of you, I probably influenced your choice already, and that felt kinda wrong. I probably could have shut up and let you figure out what to do for yourself. I do have my family over here, and your decision would have mattered to me. True, you got a little family over here, but you got your little family over there too, right? Heh. And I'm not referring to that competitive cousin of ours with whom you get along so well. I sigh. Akira is correct, unfortunately. When Mother and Father told me they liked me to move to Scotland and live with them again, Hanako and Hisao were the first thoughts that came to my mind. We were almost our own little family, the three of us. At least that is how I feel. And right now, I'm very worried about how they are doing. Hisao called last week to tell me Hanako had withdrawn within herself, just like last year. He's been showing interest in her lately, but I'm not certain if it's the kind of interest she would appreciate. All in all, I've been worried. Hey, how badly could they screw up in the short time we've been here? You're probably worrying about nothing. You're probably right. Suddenly, something smooth is pushed into my hand. I recognize the feeling of a cell phone. If you want to ease your mind, why not contact them? I've got the tickets, which means you've got an official excuse. I smile appreciatively at Akira as I dial Hanako's number. Just hearing her voice would probably ease my worries. I feel a bit guilty for not having called earlier, but I know from before that Hanako would have been unlikely to respond during her birthday depression. Akira? Hanako's voice sounds very far away, but the reception isn't all that bad. Hello, Hanako. Lily. Hanako sounds delighted to hear from me. That's good. It means she must have bounced back from last week sooner than expected. It is good to hear from you, Hanako. How are you doing right now? And how is Hisao? We're doing very well. And how are you doing, Lily? Did you have any idea when you'll be heading back? Takes me a moment to place Hanako's tone. While I've known Hanako for about a year and have been around during her good moods, this is the first time in a long while she's sounding outright cheerful. We will be returning to Japan near the end of the week. Akira will be dropping me off, so I'm hoping the two of you will be welcoming us at the gate. Sure, we'll be there. I wonder... Hanako, you sound like you're in an unusually good mood right now. Lily, there's something I have to tell you when you get back. I have no doubt that whatever she wants to tell me is responsible for the good mood she's currently in, and I'm not looking forward to spending several more days wondering what it might be. I decided to press the issue a bit. Hanako, did something good happen to you? I can't tell you yet. I promised to keep it a secret until we could tell you in person. Would you be willing to elaborate on who we might be? No, I meant to say I could tell you in person. Hanako, do you mind if I make a few guesses? By the time Akira and I arrive at the driveway of her parents' mansion, we're both wearing a huge smile on our face. I still can't believe she got herself a boyfriend. Who would have known? Didn't think she had it in her. I think it's very sweet. They have so much in common. I am sure they'll be a very nice couple. As we enter the mansion through the patio doors, Akira turns around and gives me a playful poke in the ribs. How about I go down to the cellar and fetch us something to celebrate? Want to open up a little bottle of champagne and perform a toast? I smile at my sibling and nod playfully. Yes, please. I have no clue how long Act 1 is meant to be, because I haven't read the fanfiction in ages. Nor do I remember if it's the developer of this said anything about the length. In fact, I'm just gonna quietly look it up real quick. Because I know that it's 61 chapters. Yeah, it's 61 chapters long. I'm gonna see if the developer said anything about how long Act 1 goes. Oh, okay, Act 1 is chapters 1 through 17. I don't think we're gonna do all 17 today, so this could be a part 1. And we're definitely not gonna get through all 17 today, so we'll just make this a part 1. Let's see. So, Chapter 1 was Lily's perspective. Could probably do through chapter 8 or 9. So looks like chapters 2 through 5 is Sal's perspective, and then chapter 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1 through 8, including 0. That's probably good. So let us press on. I let out a loud yawn as I approached the running track wearing my gym shorts. It's been a while since I wore them, as I am still exempted from PE classes, and that running session during my first week was also the last time I made an active attempt to improve my health. Even then, it was mostly a desire to get the head nurse off my back that drove me to the running track. Today will be the first day I'm here of my own free will. Mm-hmm. 2 days ago, Hanako and I met in the park in an attempt to salvage our friendship, which had taken a turn for the extremely awkward after we spent the night with each other the evening before. If anything, our mutual confession highlighted just how riddled with misunderstandings and false assumptions our friendship had been up to that point, and clearing those up was a painful process for both of us. But it was also this very process that allowed the two of us to make a fresh start as boyfriend and girlfriend, who made a promise of mutual support to each other. My new relationship with Hanako was also the reason I approached the nurse yesterday with a request for a training schedule. A week ago, I would have seen a heart flutter as something that was nobody's problem but my own. But now that I have a girlfriend, I feel a newfound responsibility to stay in shape. The nurse had been quick to draw, in addition to his own conclusions about my motivations, a training regimen for me to follow. Boy howdy, I wish I could stay in shape. I can't even jog 100 feet without being extremely winded. As I reach the track, I see a familiar girl sitting on the bleachers. As I approach, she looks up, gives me a wave and a smile, and then continues adjusting the prosthetic running blades attached to the stumps just below her knees. God, I hate that I ran out of my rescue inhaler. The heat sucks so much more now. I remember running with her on the track before, during my first week here, but since she's not in my class and I have spent most of my free time in the library, the tea room, or my dorm, we haven't really talked much since then. I guess if my determination to get in shape holds out, we'll get to know each other better soon enough. According to the nurse, running is pretty much a daily ritual for Emmy. God, I don't remember what voice I was doing for Emmy. Like, I remember what I was doing for Lily and Hanako. I don't remember what I was doing for Emmy or anyone else. Hey there, it's been forever since I've seen you here. Yeah, I've been making some early New Year resolutions and decided to make a serious attempt to get into shape. Emmy gets up from the bleachers and bounces up and down on her leg blades a few times to test their stability. Nurse told me about your visit yesterday. He asked me to keep an eye on you just in case something happens. She looks at me quizzically. What exactly was he talking about? I take a moment to consider how to reply. When I first started attending here, I felt like my arrhythmia was none of the other people's business, but over time I've slowly gotten more comfortable with it, and at this point a few of my classmates know about it. It's probably best to give Emmy a rundown of the situation, just in case something does happen. I'm at the school because I have a heart condition, so for me, shaping up is more about avoiding sudden death than it is about avoiding weight gain. Until recently, I just walked some short distances every now and then, but I recently picked up dating, so I have an additional reason to improve my health and stay in shape. I'd hate to leave a grieving girlfriend behind. Emmy responds with a smile, but suddenly makes wide eyes and mouths a soundless aha, as if she just had a revelation of some kind. Oh, so that's what the nurse was talking about. Uh-oh. What exactly did he tell you? Emmy strikes a pose, puts her hands in the pockets of an imaginative coat, and squeezes her eyes shut, while contorting her face in a grin that is as wide as it is artificial. I have reason to believe young Hisao is being driven by the oldest motivation known to man. I don't know whether to be amused by Emmy's over-the-top yet somehow frighteningly accurate imitation of the nurse, or annoyed by the insinuation she's making. I don't really see what's wrong with the desire to stay alive. Emmy gives me an impish smile that indicates she really isn't buying my attempt to sidestep her remark. I think he was talking about sex, Hisao. You know, keeping the species going and all. Whatever. Can we save the rest of the small talk for the cooldown lap? That sounded a little grumpy than I intended, but Emmy doesn't seem to pay any heed and cheerfully accepts my suggestion to start the morning run. Boy, howdy. The laps around the track actually turned out better than I expected. The last time I participated in this activity took place a week after I was released from the hospital, and my physical condition was outright pathetic. Nowadays, my condition is sufficient to allow me to walk from town back to school without feeling like an old man afterwards. Boy, howdy, I wish I could walk that far without feeling like an old lady. I have to freaking hobble around with a cane because my body's kind of really garbage. Though I recently discovered it still wasn't good enough. I wonder how Emmy and the nurse would react if they knew their teasing had an element of truth in it. Getting healthy enough to have sex wasn't the only reason behind my resolve to start working out, but the brief hiccup my heart experienced during the night Hanako and I slept together was enough to scare us both for a moment, and my condition hanging over our newly formed relationship like a dark cloud was something I wanted to avoid at all costs. Emmy politely waited for me at the finish line, and now we are casually doing a cooldown lap. She doesn't waste any time bringing up a subject to talk about. So, Hisao, are the rumors I've heard true? What rumors would that be? Don't tell me you don't know. I don't keep up with gossip much, and even I have heard about it. I sigh. Of course I knew. After Hanako and I bared our souls to one another in the park, we were walking through town to get something to drink. Along the way, Hanako gave me what she called her first gift to me, a sweet kiss on the lips that marked the official start of our relationship. But it turned out that our little public display of affection had been spotted by some fellow students, and a day later the rumor mill was working overtime spreading the news throughout the hallways of Yamaku. What have you heard? About Hanako Ikezawa kissing someone in the middle of the street? A transfer student? Guilty as charged. Is that enough for you? She giggled and gave me a wink. I bet I'm not the first one to bother you about this, am I? More like the sixth, which isn't too bad. Given the fact the entire school seems to know about it, I was prepared for more interrogations than I've received so far. As we finish our lap, we walk from the bleachers and take a few sips from the water bottles we brought along. We sit down for a moment and Emmy gently starts rubbing the spots where her legs meet her prosthetics. The room is not really about you, you know? I mean, you're just a new transfer student. But Hanako, she's been the shyest girl in school for the better part of 3 years. It's no wonder people talk about something like this. It's surprising so many people seem to know her, given the effort she usually makes to avoid drawing attention to herself. I could speak. Given the effort she usually makes to avoid drawing attention to herself. I don't think anyone except you and Lily Sato really know her, but I bet most students know who she is. Sometimes, when you try hard enough to avoid being noticed, you end up standing out all the more. We get up and take another sip. Emmy lets out a cute little burp that most people would only associate with infants, and we start walking towards the staff building. How did she react to the attention? She hates it. What did you expect? Before, she merely thought people were staring at her all the time. Now, she knows people are staring. She's been ditching the last few minutes of every class so far in an attempt to avoid the crowds. Can we save? Yes, we can save. Oh, it actually tells us what chapter we're on. Lovely. Accessibility, I really need to... that's neat. That is self-voicing. Colorblind filter, I don't really need because I'm not colorblind. So let's just stick. Emmy looks down for a moment as she hears this and gives me a sad smile. That's too bad. I mean, I get that she hates people staring, but I don't think this kind of attention is a bad thing. It's a shame she can't enjoy it. What do you mean? Every student here has baggage of some kind. Some have gotten accustomed to things, but others are still working on it. But we all have, you know, milestones we have reached or still want to reach. She lightly taps her right leg in order to accentuate her point. When I first heard the rumor, I was reminded of the time I took my first steps with these, or the first time I successfully navigated a staircase. For people like me, it brings back a pleasant memory. For people who are still coping, it's a little glimmer of hope, I think. Anyway, maybe I'm too optimistic, but I think right now most students, even though they don't know her, are genuinely happy for her. If she doesn't realize that and can't enjoy that, she's missing out. Emmy's words sound oddly logical to me. At exception, all students here must have dealt with the hardships in their life, some more than others. Hanako's act was an undeniable sign of recovery, and no doubt something that would resonate with a lot of people here. I smile at Emmy appreciatively. That actually makes a lot of sense. I don't think it'll change the way she feels about this, but I bet it'll make her feel a little better when I tell her. You know, you're a lot deeper than I expected. Emmy looks annoyed at this. You think I'm shallow or an airhead or something? Fran quickly makes way for a mischievous grin. You'd better watch what you say to me. I bet I could convince the nurse to tack on a few extra laps to that daily training schedule of yours. Bring it on. It'll only make me healthy sooner. Emmy laughs at me calling her bluff. As she opens the door of the nurse's office, she playfully pokes me in the ribs with her finger. Let's hope you still have that drive tomorrow morning. The second days are always the worst ones. Wait, what? Why did Cheeton like my... Cheeton, what are you doing? So, if you guys don't know, Cheeton is a really popular chaotic mascot in Japan, and they just liked my going live post I made today. I don't quite know what I did to earn their attention, but okay. Thank you, Cheeton. Really do wish I had my rescue inhaler, but the pharmacy is working on filling it. I guess I'm gonna be a little wheezy for a bit, but it should be ready today at least. After delivering that ominous premonition, she closes the door behind her. Was that chapter 2? Like a save, just to be sure. It's Nurse. Let's go. We love Nurse. What? I said save, not load. Oh, cringe. Okay, we're speeding through this now. I thought I hit save, but we loaded. That's kind of cringe. Okay, saves. Okay, we are now on chapter 3. Yes, we can delete that. After listening for a moment, the nurse puts away his stethoscope and gives a satisfied nod to indicate I can put my shirt back on. You sound good to me. No chest pains or dizziness this morning. I shake my head. I've been doing these morning jogs for several days now, and so far my heart hasn't acted up a single time despite the exhaustion I feel at the end of each practice session. And what do you think of the coach I assigned you? When I got overconfident and tried to keep up with her yesterday morning, she immediately started yelling at me to stick to my schedule. She can be pretty intimidating despite her short stature. The nurse laughs at this. Is that a compliment? I can't really complain about her. She can be pretty harsh but fair and pretty fun to chat with. Why are you so interested? As I finish putting my shirt back on, the nurse leans in and speaks in a conspiring tone. The reason I asked her to get this involved with your practice sessions is because I want to know how open she is to the idea of using her athletic experience to help others. Yeah, I also don't remember the voice I was doing for Nurse. Running has always been a solitary thing for her, so it would be good if she took a liking to this whole coaching gig, as informal as it is. Are you hoping she'll want to turn it into a career? Graduation is less than a year away, and Emmy doesn't have any clear plans on what to do afterwards. She kinda likes to live by the day. She's not exactly a bookworm, if you know what I mean. Sports are something she's genuinely passionate about. You don't have to tell me that. Are you trying to talk her into becoming a trainer or a coach? Aren't those usually retired athletes? More like a PE teacher. She might make a lively colleague, don't you think? The nurse suddenly looks pensive and snaps his fingers with a guilty look on his face. Speaking of which, that reminds me, a colleague of mine has been asking me about you and wanted to meet you. Do you have some time to spare later this day? I have obligations today, but that's early in the evening. I can manage right after the last class, but what is this about? Today is a special day as Lily called us from Scotland a few days ago, saying she and Akira would be flying in today, and Hanako and I are planning to welcome them back. But I'm pretty curious why someone on Yamaku's staff would call on the nurse to arrange a meeting. I don't recall getting particularly bad grades lately. And even if that were the case, a teacher would be more likely to propose Muto or Shizune in order to get in touch with me. Just an informal chat, I've been told. If you could drop by after your last class ends, that'd be great. It isn't a satisfying answer at all, but I still need to get back into the dorms and take a shower before class, so I leave the office without prying any further. I think today's stream's just gonna be a shorter one, just because my breathing's kind of garbage. After class, I reach the corridor leading to the nurse's office. I can see he's already waiting for me outside. He greets me with his usual fox-like smile. Good to see you could come so quickly. This way, please. He leads me through a few hallways and up 2 sets of stairs to a part of the staff building I've never seen before, or never been to before. He stops at a door at the end of one of the hallways and knocks loudly before opening it and making an inviting gesture like a porter beckoning a guest. After you. I expected to see just another office on the other side of the door, maybe a variation of the nurse's home turf, but the room I step into fits neither a medical staff building nor a school. The best way to describe it would be a rather old-fashioned living room filled with nothing but wooden furniture and curtains in a similar style to the ones my grandparents used to own. The only piece of technology in plain sight is the phone on a small table in one of the corners. Oh, this is a therapist's office. I know it's a therapist's office because I've been in these before. As much out of place as the room feels in the building we're in, I have to admit it fits its sole occupant like a glove. The nurse seems amused by my surprised reaction and puts his hand on my shoulder in an overly personal fashion. I feel that over the last few days we've grown close enough to each other for me to introduce you to my mother. Before I can fully digest his extremely out-of-place joke, the old lady behind the table rises to her feet and approaches us while shooting the nurse a stern glare. If I was truly your mother, dear colleague, I would have taught you how impolite it is to make these kinds of remarks before even introducing us properly. Okay, ad break. And I hope the mic's not picking up on my crummy breathing. But knowing me, it probably is. Welcome back from ad break. Let us continue. The nurse acknowledges her words with a cheerful nod and a slightly apologetic gesture. This young man next to me is Hisao Nakai, whom I'm certain you've heard plenty about by now. My colleague here who wants to meet you is called Miss Takawa. Yumi Takawa. I'm very pleased to make your acquaintance, Mr. Nakai. The old woman in front of us makes a graceful bow as the nurse continues. Here at Yamaku, our primary focus is to help students deal with the physical implications of their conditions. But in certain cases where a student's condition is the result of an accident of some sort, but in certain cases where the student's condition is the result of an accident of some sort, some additional support can be desired, and if I feel the circumstances warrant it, I usually refer them to Ms. Takawa here or one of her coworkers. Eventually, the final decision lies with the students, but most of them accept the additional help we offer them here. I notice how his smile shortly fades for a moment during the last part of his statement, but before I can ponder on whether he had some specific people in mind, his jovial expression returns and he reaches for the door handle. I'm sure the two of you will do fine without me. I'll be going now. See you after your next practice run. You'll have to excuse my colleague. He is a fine young man, but I believe he enjoys his own jokes a little bit too much sometimes. May I have the honor of getting you some green tea, Mr. Nakai? Sure. I mean, please. I take a seat at the low table in the middle of the room as my host walks over to a corner and fills 2 ornate tea bowls with the contents of a kettle boiling on a small brazier there. After returning to the table and putting one of the bowls in my hands, she sits down across from me and gives a small bow to indicate it's okay to drink. As I drink, I am reminded of the many lunch breaks I've spent in the tea room with Hanako and Lily. This room seems to have the same relaxing atmosphere, maybe even more so, and the grandmotherly feeling that the old woman in front of me is giving off reminds me slightly of Lily's composed demeanor. But unlike Lily's focused and cloudy gaze, Miss Takawa's gaze is sharp and analytical. If I may ask, Mr. Nakai, did my colleague tell you why I wanted to meet you? No, not really. All he said was that it was informal. Correct. I have no reason to believe you yourself are in need of my services. Services? The nurse said that Miss Takawa gives additional support after accidents. Did she mean psychiatric help? Is this old lady a shrink? Suddenly, a realization dawns upon me. You're a counselor, aren't you? Are you by any chance Hanako's therapist? Well reasoned, Mr. Nakai. My specialty is cognitive behavioral therapy, and Miss Ikazawa does indeed happen to be one of my clients. Boy, howdy, CBT. Been a while since I've seen a therapist. I technically could still benefit from one, but I'm doing well enough without, I suppose. Don't want to fill out my already busy schedule with even more doctor's visits. I have to admit, I wondered about the person Hanako was seeing ever since Lily first brought up the subject. But this old lady was not what I was expecting a therapist to look like after all, or at all. Sorry for the reaction. I've always thought of therapists as bearded guys with thick glasses. Miss Takawa covers her mouth with her hand and chuckles briefly. I doubt this was the first time she heard about that stereotype. Plenty of those exist around here as well. So I guess this is about my relationship with Hanako. You've come up with increasing frequency in recent sessions. When Miss Ikazawa started referring to you as her boyfriend, I felt it might be a good idea to meet you myself and create my own impression of you. Miss Ikazawa is presumably expecting me to say something positive about you during the next session, so it would probably pay off for you to be on your best behavior here. Does Hanako know you're having this talk with me? If she hadn't consented to this, you would not be sitting here right now. So what exactly are you expecting of me? I merely wished to get a general impression of you. Would you be willing to tell me a few things about how your relationship with Miss Ikazawa came to be from your perspective? There are plenty of things and events that took place regarding our relationship that I don't care to talk about with this person, especially since I don't know what Hanako has told her. So I just end up describing a few moments I've had with Hanako to her, like our first meeting in the library, our first game of chess during the festival, and our various outings in the city. As I relay these events, Miss Takawa listens to me without saying a single word. Thank you for your account of these events, Mr. Nakai. I very much appreciate your time. I suppose you aren't willing to tell me a few things in return? Or is that all covered under patient confidentiality? I don't have high hopes for any attempts to learn more about Hanako from a therapist, especially since the nurse was already so tight-lipped about it. But for some reason, it seems unfair for me to be the only one giving out information. Client confidentiality, Mr. Nakai. And I'm afraid that I am indeed not at liberty to tell you anything that was confided in me during closed sessions. All I can tell you is that I'm content with Ms. Ikazawa's progress so far. Thank God therapists are so tight-lipped about what you discuss with them. Otherwise, I might not have been so willing to talk about things and things with therapists I've seen. I can't resist a frown at that statement. If the nurse was correct, Hanako must have been in therapy at Yamaku since she came here 2.5 years ago. But when I first met her, she was still too skittish to even hold a conversation with me. Was Hanako even worse when she first came here, or was this therapist exaggerating the progress that was made? Of course, there was also a third possibility. May I ask for how long you've been treating Hanako? Are you the only person who's been treating her? I'm very sorry, but I'm afraid I cannot disclose information of that kind to you. Can I ask you something that won't force you to violate your client confidentiality? By all means. For how long have you worked here at Yamaku? Ms. Takao raises her eyebrows for a second and then smiles. Very well played, Mr. Nakai. I have only worked here for a little over a year. That means Hanako must have been meeting with at least one previous therapist in the past to whom she presumably didn't open up. Somehow, I'm not really that surprised. I am still a bit skeptical about Ms. Takawa's claim of therapy's effectiveness, though. Was it just a coincidence Hanako started opening up more when I befriended her? I don't think so. Ms. Takawa seems to read my thoughts. Am I correct in my assumption that you don't seem to believe me? I haven't known Hanako for as long as you have, but considering how she's grown over the last period, I feel that instead of therapy, maybe all Hanako really needed were friends. I prepared myself for an offended reaction, but Mr. Takawa doesn't seem fazed. I don't believe that the two are mutually exclusive. In fact, I believe Ms. Ikazawa benefits most from having both. Yeah. Therapy and friends can and do go hand in hand. Like, I had friends. I mean, I still have friends, but I had close friends when I was going through therapy that I could just confide in about stuff, which helped, because I've known my friends longer than I've known therapists, and it's easier to talk to someone you've known for years instead of somebody you only see maybe once or twice a month. But a therapist is ultimately a professional, so they're good at what they do and are better suited to help you than friends, and it's also not really a good idea to trauma dump on your friends so much. I'm thankfully past the point of trauma dumping unneededly. I might eventually one day confide in you all my story and what I've been through and still go through, but that day is not today, honestly. If anything, it might be later this year. I can think of perhaps one day that would be most appropriate. Not that I'm looking forward to it. In fact, I'm kind of dreading it, but that's still not for a couple months. 4.5 months, maybe? I mean, we'll get there when we get there. I don't really think there's a point in arguing that sort of thing with her. After taking another sip of her tea, she gives me another one of those analytical stares. Mr. Nakai, I won't take up much more of your time. I really appreciate you coming here. Would you be adverse to one more question? Go ahead. What is it that drew you to Miss Ikazawa? Why is it that you are attracted to her? That's kind of a personal question. Fortunately, it's something I've often thought over myself, so I don't have difficulty coming up with the answer. Multiple things, I guess. We both enjoy reading and playing games. We both like spending time away from the bustle of the rest of the world. She's also a really sweet girl, and once she gets used to the scars, she's actually pretty attractive too. Also, I can't really describe it very well, but I feel some kind of kinship with her, like she's a kindred spirit. It's hard to explain. We figured we could both use support from someone, and we made a promise to be that someone for each other during tough times. Howdy, howdy, Dungeon Rat. Welcome, welcome. I would like to say it's going good, but the most I can say is it's going decent. My lungs are being a bit of a problem today, so I'm not going to be able to stream for as long as I want. Especially because this is yapping. It's constant yapping because it's a visual novel, and that's really taxing on my lungs. But I hope you're having a great Tuesday, better than I am at least. My answer seems to satisfy her as she nods appreciatively. You didn't even need to think before answering. Very good. I have no further questions for you, Mr. Nakai. You can take your leave if you wish. Then I'll be going now. Hanako and I are planning to welcome Lily back this evening. She rises as well and walks me to the door before giving a polite bow as a farewell. I hope Misato has had a pleasant trip abroad. Take care of yourself, Mr. Nakai. Yeah, once I can get my rescue inhaler from the pharmacy, I'll definitely start feeling better. It's just one of those off days where my lungs are being exceptionally stupid. And I ran out of my rescue inhaler a few days ago. So I'm kind of deprived of good breathing until the pharmacy says it's ready. And it should be ready today, honestly soon, probably. One of the many downsides of being asthmatic. Actually needing something to help you breathe. Or multiple somethings. Because I have a steroid inhaler I use twice a day to just help my lungs be a bit stronger. After a polite greeting, I leave the secluded office and hurry back to the exit of the staff building. There are still plenty of things to do before tonight. The sun is already setting by the time Hanako and I make our way to the parking lot. Hanako received a text message from Akira confirming they landed safely, and Akira is going to drop Lily off at the school gates. Are you sure they'll be here soon? Yes. It should take them less than an hour to get here. I was already aching to see Lily back after 2 very eventful weeks, but I'm particularly excited to break the news of Hanako and me going out. I'm very curious about how she'll react. I wonder how we should tell them about us. Maybe we could hold hands when they arrive? Hold hands? Thank you for the follow, Porky Dorky. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a great Tuesday. Hanako seems a bit absent-minded ever since we left the school grounds. I wonder if something's wrong. She seemed excited to see Lily again earlier today. Yeah, and then leave it to Akira to point that out. The Katawa goes good. I'm playing through a mod for Katawa, actually. If you know the insanely good fanfiction Sisterhood, which is pretty much the most goated 11 out of 10 fanfic made based on the game. There's a really cool dude who's making a mod for the Katawa Shoujo re-engineered game that basically is just all of Sisterhood, the fanfiction, in visual novel form. And so we're playing through Act 1, which is chapters 1 through 17. So we're not going to get through all 17 chapters this stream because my lungs have decided to be utter garbage today. So actually voicing out everything is kind of a big chore right now. But I think I can get through at least another chapter or two before I call streams, maybe an hour more. I'm waiting for the pharmacy to say my rescue inhaler's ready, and that's the one thing I really wish I had at the moment. But we're making do. We're having fun. We're enjoying the story. It's good. And I'll definitely be doing more of this, since there's so much of Act 1 to do. And it is fun. As I like telling, Hanako is the biggest inspiration behind the design of my VTuber, because my VTuber is based on the first character I ever designed back when I was a runty little teenager. And my OC's design is inspired by Hanako, so I like getting to play through Hanako's good ending on stream before I went into surgery in April, and I'm enjoying playing through this right now. Yeah, people, I'm glad you like it. People always assume that my model design is based on either Zuko from Avatar or Todoroki from My Hero Academia, but no, it's inspired by Hanako. Yeah, and then leave it to Akira to point that out. Ooh, we're quaking. Then again, she might just keep it to herself just to mess with Lily a bit. I wouldn't put it past her. Hanako doesn't respond. I notice she's playing with something she's holding in her hand. Are you considering warming that when they arrive? I don't really know yet. It's your choice. Yes. Neither of us really knows how to continue the discussion. While the silences between us are no longer as frequent or awkward as they once were, they still rear their head every now and again. This is one of those times. We went to town the other day to do some shopping for this evening. Neither of us thought Lily would have much energy for a party, but we wanted to make the evening a bit special nevertheless, and bought a batch of fragrant tea as well as a box of sweets for her. Hanako was still toying around with her little trinket as I spot a car heading up the parking lot and approaching us. As it gets closer, I see the distinctive hair color of the Sato sisters behind the windshield. The car stops in front of us, and Hanako lets out a small sigh, putting the trinket back in her pocket. Looks like she isn't ready yet to let Akira see her new look. The car door opens and Akira steps out, giving an enthusiastic wave. I have no idea how much energy this woman has, but an intercontinental flight and a ride from the airport to Yamaku seemed inefficient to diminish it. Lily, on the other hand, looks a little worse for wear. Lily. Hanako's fidgety mood seems to vanish the moment Lily gets out of the car as she rushes forward and grabs Lily in a tight hug with a huge smile on her face. Lily is visibly surprised, then recollects herself and returns Hanako's hug with a gentle embrace of her own. I can't help but smile at myself as I see this display of unrestricted affection between them. It's so good to meet you again, Hanako. I'm so happy to see you again, Lily. Lily carefully signals Hanako to break her embrace and then places both hands on her shoulders. Hanako, I'm very happy for you. Happy and proud. She then turns to my general direction. Very happy for both of you. I shoot Hanako a suspicious look and notice she started fidgeting again. Both of us? Wait, did you? Lily doesn't reply and merely maintains a cheeky grin on her face. Akira is noticeably less subtle. Congratulations, lover boy. Looks like you caught yourself a nice fish while we were gone. I'm starting to understand why Hanako seemed nervous while I was considering how to announce our relationship. Lily probably sweet-talked the news out of her days ago. Hanako, didn't we agree to tell them the news in person? Hanako gives me such a guilty look, I'm starting to feel heartless for scolding her. I'm sorry, Hisao. I meant to keep it a secret, but... Don't be upset, Hisao. It took me a great deal of effort to convince Hanako that keeping such happy news bottled up is an unhealthy and frustrating thing to do to herself. She seemed genuinely relieved when she finally decided to break the news to us ahead of time. Now she's pretending this was all for Hanako's benefit instead of satisfying her own curiosity. Lily's playful expression shows she is all too eager to take full responsibility for this premature leaking of information, and she doesn't look even a little bit guilty about it. Akira merely looks at me with a mischievous grin. My sis can be pushy in her own polite and passive way, you know? Akira walks back to the car, fishes Lily's luggage out of the trunk, and beckons me to take on the role of porter. I'd like to stick around, but I still have a big distance to drive and a boyfriend to catch up with. Aren't you at least a little bit tired after traveling for so long? Nope. When I was born, I hugged all the genetic jet lag immunity I could get. Lucky. I shall find out soon. There wasn't anything left for Lily afterwards. Lily lets out a light groan before carefully walking over to Akira and giving her a polite hug. Stay in touch. Will do. And think about the upcoming weekend, will ya? I will. With that, Lily and Akira part ways, and a minute later we're watching the car drive off into the distance. I walk over to Lily and give her a quick hug. Welcome back, Lily. You're probably tired, but Hanako and I planned a little private party for you to celebrate your return. If you wish to go to bed right now, we'd understand, but if you can bear with us for another hour or so, we can take the opportunity to catch up. Lily smiles gratefully at us. I accept the offer, as long as you don't mind me being a little less talkative than usual. Hanako, I'll have Lily carry her luggage back to the dorms. Would you go ahead and prepare the tea? Sure. As Hanako dashes off to the girls' dorm, I turn to Lily. What was with the Akira's remark about the upcoming weekend? Lily smiles mysteriously. Later. I needed that. As Lily puts her second cup of tea down, she lets out a satisfied sigh. She still looks a bit tired, but the caffeine seems to have taken the edge off. Man, I can't wait for it to cool off and become tea weather again, because tea does sound good right now, and honestly, after stream, heat be danged, I'm probably gonna make myself a cup of tea. It's been a while. And tea might help. It's not gonna help the breathing much, but it might help me feel a little better anyways. So after stream, I will make some tea and enjoy the tea. None of us have said a lot since we reached Lily's room and Hanako brought in a pot of fragrant tea, though it doesn't really matter much. Lily's presence always seems to turn otherwise uncomfortable silences comfortable. Yeah, I am not built to feel the heat at all. Like, autumn is the best, because it's not hot, it's not cold, it's not super cold yet, it's perfect. Just jeans and a sweatshirt, jeans and a sweater, skirt and a sweater, just, it's perfect comfortable weather. Coffee, tea, just have a nice walk, enjoying the changing of leaves. It's perfect. And winter's good too, because it's easier to warm up in the cold than it is to cool off in the heat. And honestly, my lungs agree with the cold more than they agree with the heat in the humidity. In fact, I'm going to see how humid it is out today, because the humidity might be why my lungs are being extremely garbage right now. It's probably extremely humid, because I woke up and I was melting. How is it only 30% humidity? It feels a lot more humid than it says. That ain't right. That humidity ain't right. Yeah, apparently it's only like a 30% humidity. That's weird. I suppose what I originally planned to talk about was the news that the two of us are dating now. But with that cat already out of the bag, maybe we could hear some tales from Scotland instead. Lily reaches down, takes a piece of candy from the box we bought, and brings it to her lips as if to further justify leaving the talking to us. You could tell me about your first official date if you'd like. Hanako really must have spilled her guts to Lily. So you know about that too? Only that it was meant to take place a few days ago. I look at Hanako, who's sitting next to me, still looking a little guilty. Go ahead. Hanako bashfully nods and gently takes Lily's hand. She reaches into her pocket, fishes something out of it, and puts it into Lily's hand. This is a gift Hisao gave me. Lily takes the object and softly runs her sensitive fingertips alongside it. After careful examination, she smiles. A little hair clip with a small flower on top. What a nice gift. Were you wearing it when we arrived? No, not yet. I could wear it now if you like. I look at Hanako as she takes back the clip from Lily, pauses for a moment, carefully brushes aside the lock of hair that's usually covering the right side of her face, and applies the clip to pin it in place. Oh, she's so cute. Holy crap. I'm still a bit unused to the sight of Hanako's face being completely exposed, but that's more because I've been staring at that lock for so long I've gotten used to it. The clip, its flower decoration, a miniature version of the one on Hanako's phone strap, was something I gave to her just before our first date with the request to wear it on occasion when we were alone. I told her that the sight of her face wasn't going to be a big deal to me and I wanted to be able to look my own girlfriend in both eyes. It also served a more practical purpose, as I found it awkward to kiss her with that lock of hair constantly getting in the way. As far as I know, this is the first time she's worn it in the presence of someone other than me. Though with Lily, it obviously doesn't make much of a difference. I sit back and nibble on a piece of candy myself as Hanako gives Lily a brief summary of our date. I can't help but be a bit amused as her retelling actually makes it sound much more spectacular than it really was. In fact, it was probably as tried and true a date as we could have managed. This was a bit intentional on my part, as I wanted our first date to be as comfortable as possible. We started with a quiet little dinner at the Shanghai, a familiar place without a lot of people around. It was here that I gave Hanako the hair clip that she's now carrying with her all the time. After finishing our meal, I took her to a small movie theater in the city. The movie we went to was actually a film adaptation of a book we both read before, so neither of us was very surprised by most of the twists in the plot, but we had the benefit of having additional discussion material on our way home. And being able to avoid awkward silences with Hanako was always a good thing. I was even entertained at how passionate she got for a moment while we were debating the way the director changed a few things about the ending before slipping back into her usual meek demeanor. One thing about our date that stood out was Hanako's uneasiness with the idea of me paying for everything, so we ended up paying for each other's meal and movie ticket. It sounds like you both had a wonderful time. Lily seems pleased with Hanako's story. She pauses for a moment before addressing us with the sheepish expression on her face. Are there any more dates planned for the upcoming weekend, or am I not privy to such information? Not at the moment. We both wanted to catch up on things with you. Why? I was thinking that with us having the upcoming 3 days off, we could spend our time away from Yamaku. Our family owns a summer house in Hokkaido we can stay in. Is that what Akira was talking about before she left? Correct. She is planning to stay there next weekend with her boyfriend. Her expression clouds for a moment, which means that if we go there, we will probably end up cleaning the place up for them. I share a brief look with Hanako. Having to do some cleaning seems a small price to pay for a cheap vacation, and spending that vacation with Hanako and Lily only makes the prospect even more attractive. And I have always wanted to go to Hokkaido. I've seen pictures and it's gorgeous. I'd love to go. I've never been to Hokkaido before. How about you, Hanako? Hanako beams. Me neither. I'd really like to go too. Lily claps her hands together. I suppose it's settled then. We'll have to leave early in the morning in order to catch the train there. Maybe it'd be best if we retire for the evening for now. We won't be able to sleep in tomorrow. Hanako gets up and gathers the teacups and teapot from the table. I'll go and clean the tea service downstairs, and I think I'll go to bed afterwards. As I get up myself to leave as well, Hanako gives me a quick kiss on the lips before removing her hair clip and walking out of Lily's room. Before I can follow her, Lily softly calls my name. Sal, would you mind helping me unpack a few things? I'd like to get some sleep myself, and I will still have to pack a few things tomorrow morning as well. For a second, I want to ask if it wouldn't have been more appropriate to ask Hanako to help her with that, but then I realized that this may very well be Lily's roundabout way of asking me to stick around for a small talk. Which is fine, because there's something I've been meaning to ask her as well. As I start messing with the lock of the suitcase, Lily sits down on her bed with a tired but cheerful expression on her face. So, you and Hanako. Yes, life can take some interesting turns. Thankfully, this one was far more positive than most of the other big changes in my life this year. I'm happy you two found each other. Hanako's mood seems to have improved so much compared to how she used to be. Things could have worked out very differently. By the way, thanks for the advice the other day. I needed that wake-up call pretty badly. That's an understatement. Not too long ago, I was thinking of nothing but protecting Hanako from the world around her. Yeah, that's never a good idea. As someone who has been treated like that before, that's not a good idea in any way, shape, and or form. I was obsessing with her emotional condition and thought of nothing except on how to prevent her from getting hurt more than she had already been. I didn't realize how patronizing my disposition must have been until Lily called me out on it that evening. Not only was Lily's judgment of my behavior spot on, but Hanako was aware of it too, and instead of protecting her, my attitude was actively hurting her. If anything, I want you to forget about this stage of our relationship as soon as possible. I'm glad I could help, though you two probably would have been able to sort things out yourselves. I don't think so. Hanako turned out to be aware of my obsessive worrying, and it only served to make her feel worse. I'm not sure how things would have turned out if you hadn't told me to back off a bit, but I doubt we'd be where we are now. But there's one thing you said during that phone call that I'd like to ask you about. What is it that you would like to know? You told me not to doubt my bond with Hanako because of some reason or another, but you cut yourself off before elaborating. I promised Hanako not to tell you about how she felt about you. I caught myself in time to avoid breaking that promise. I'm a bit surprised she told you about that. I would have expected her to keep something like that to herself. Lily remained silent for a few seconds, carefully choosing her words before answering. She didn't. At least, not at first. We frequently spoke about you while spending time together. Shortly after the festival, Hanako suddenly started asking me what I thought of you. She wanted to know whether I liked you. She was uncharacteristically persistent in her questioning, and you in turn wanted to know why she was so interested? Yes. After some digging on my part, I got her to admit that she was in love with you herself. So it was like she was asking you if it was safe for her to pursue me without becoming a rival to you. I do not think she had any plans to pursue you, but in the case I liked you as well, she would have tried to push her own feelings away for my benefit. Regardless of how you felt about her, that's the kind of person she is. Boy, howdy, can I relate? That does sound like something Hanako would do. I put a hand on Lily's shoulder. Well, things worked out in the end. We got together, and I'm happy that I'm able to call her my girlfriend. Lily nods silently before smiling inquisitively at me. Bleh. So, if I may ask, how did you two get together? How did things fall into place between you two? I asked Hanako, but she wouldn't tell me much about it. That's a tricky question. Things falling into place was probably the worst description of how our relationship came to be. It was a whole lot more accurate to say things were blown to very tiny bits that we ended up using to piece together something more stable. We ended up playing emotional hide and seek. We ended up hurting each other and pushing each other away, and to top it off, we had sex for misguided reasons that neither of us was emotionally ready for. It wasn't exactly romance novel material we took part in. I have my sincere doubts Lily would really want to know even half of these things. The right word would be messily. It's probably better to leave this to your imagination. Please take my word for that. Oh. Thank goodness she doesn't pry. One more thing bothered me, though. There were many things Hanako told me during our confession in the park that day. Many things that I didn't think Lily was aware of, and some of them applied to her as well. The difficulty with trusting friends Hanako admitted to having was one thing that came to mind, and part of me wants to let Lily in on this. But I'm not certain yet if the risk would be worth it. The things Hanako told me in the park were things she confided in me because she trusted me. Earning her trust has been a ride through hell, and something tells me it won't be easily regained if she feels I betrayed it. With luck and Hanako's slowly growing confidence, she'll be able to improve her friendship with Lily on her own without me having to meddle in it. While enveloping myself in my thoughts, I finish emptying Lily's suitcase, stand up, and get ready to return to my own dorm room. Don't worry too much about it. The important thing is we're fine now. Let's focus on what's ahead of us, starting with a few days in Hokkaido. Lily gets up from the bed and gives her a polite bow. Thank you for tonight, Hisao. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Me too. Good night, Lily. Good night, Hisao. Okay, that's another chapter done, and my breathing's still not feeling any better, so I really would like to continue more, but I think we will just call it here. I'll save. Oh, we're on chapter 5 now. Okay, we actually made some good progress. We did 4 chapters. An hour, 21 minutes in. So, honestly, not bad. We made very good progress. I really would have loved to do more of this, another few chapters, but my lungs aren't feeling any better, unfortunately. So, bop and bop. So, for now, a much shorter stream, but it was fun at least. We got to make some good progress on this. I'm glad you could make it for the stream. I freaking love this, and if I'm feeling better next Monday, I will do more of this, because I do want to try and finish Act 1. I don't know how long it's going to take the dev of the mod to finish Act 2, but Act 1's 17 chapters, so that's frankly a ton of story we can do. Lots of goodness. So for now, let us find someone to raid out to. And hopefully the pharmacy messaged me soon saying my inhaler is ready, so I can go get that and take a fat bong rip off of it. Let's see what people are doing. That's chatting. Neverness to Everness. Peak, art, chatting. Pokemon Legends Arceus, chatting. Art, lots of art. Let's see. Yeah, I've always found it funny to describe using my inhaler as just taking a fat bong rip off of it. Let's see who. Let's raid into Rummy the boss. Rummy's playing Date Everything again. That's a great game. So let's see. Pop. So, as always, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday. And remember, Big Sis loves you always.